Fani's Hail Mary, Lindsey Graham and Dick come together, and CNN Toobin's all over itself about its upcoming presidential debate. This is Propaganda Report's Drive Time News Blast. Good morning to everyone. As you see, those watching, there's a new setup that I have going on here. I have a new camera that I'm using. There's new locations here, new cords and connections, and a plethora of new technical problems waiting to go wrong. And I needed to test it out. There's lots of really wonderful news, just wonderful, wonderful news to talk about. So I thought, why not? Because tonight, Brandon Green, the organizer of Bitcoin 2024, that conference is going to be in Nashville, expected to be pretty wild. Vivek speaks at everything. I feel like Vivek speaks at absolutely every place there is to speak. County fairs, churches, everywhere, Vivek is speaking somewhere. Also, RFK Jr., not going to be in the presidential debate, but he'll be at Bitcoin 2024. Lots of other great speakers and stuff too. It really is going to be, at least is what it seems to me, going to be probably a pretty crazy time. And I'm going to be there, and we're going to have Brandon on the show to tell Ian and I about it. Maybe some of you guys will join us as well there. So I need to do a tech run through. So let's dive into some of these stories. Am I live? I think I'm live. I don't know. I'm alive. I think. Who knows what we are in this realm that we're in? Let's get back to the show. Okay. First story of the day. Fani Willis has a motion. She's still trying to make that Trump-Fulton trial, January 6th trial, happen before the election is what she's trying to do. And last week, she filed a motion to dismiss Trump and his co-defendants' ongoing appeal, the one that went through last month, about throwing. So Trump and his people, you guys know, they appealed the decision to let Fani stay on the case and to not dismiss the thing. And now Fani has filed a motion to dismiss that appeal, because that appeal is not set to be heard tentatively until October 4th or something like that, leading many to believe that if it continues like this, that the trial will never happen before the election, maybe at all. So Fani is trying to make sure that it still does. And so she filed this motion, and Trump and his co-defendants, they responded in a court filing to Fani's motion by calling it a Hail Mary on her part. And then they accused her in their response of saying that she's just trying to mislead the court to avoid the disqualification, and she's using a motion that lacks any legal basis to do so, which is perfectly believable because the entire indictment in Fulton County lacks any legal basis. If you've ever read an indictment, there's no legal basis to anything there. So, of course, Fani Willis is not operating on the law, as many of the politicians and many people involved in lawfare aren't. They're operating on tying people up in court, getting them to spend money, and public perception of these cases. I mean, this is a battle of perception. Fani Willis has gotten more popular, despite the fact that, really, from an objective perspective, she's been completely awful in her behavior and arrogant. But nobody cares. She's getting more donation money because it's all about size and tribal warfare. So, in response to Trump's lawyer calling her motion a Hail Mary, Fani said, ain't no white girl getting hailed by a black woman like me, and a prostitute nonetheless. Mary is a hoe. The only hoe and prostitute that I'm hailing, said Fani, is Nathan Wade. Okay? And then she stormed out of the courtroom sipping on Grey Goose. Last part of that may or may not have been true. I don't know. It's a speculative reporting on this. Anonymous, unnamed sources who are familiar with the courtroom settings told me this. All right. So, where is that? Is this? So I'm looking around, make sure all my tech is still up. Because I've never actually used this type of... This is a very different camera that I don't know anything about. Took me like an hour, 2 hours just to get it to stop shifting focus on everything. Where was I? Okay. Next story. Going away from Fani Willis this time and talking about a little bit of bipartisanship. And a bipartisan move yesterday, Senator Lindsey Graham, who took some time off from being gay, and he reached across the aisle to work with Richard Blumenthal to write and then unveil a bill that would declare Russia to be a state sponsor of terrorism. That was what these two, this Republican and Democrat, Graham and Dick, linked. Let's get rid of Russian terrorism. When asked about his and Senator Richard Blumenthal's bill, Graham said, I always do my best work with Dick. When Dick and I come together, it's the best feeling there is. It feels almost as good as the decades of work I've done for Cox in South Carolina. Obviously, the Gamecock, before he then clarified and said, I'll say this, as great as it feels to work with Dick and Cox, nothing feels better than penises, multiple penises. Lindsey Graham is very gay. He has sex with his pages, the hidden cameras inside Congress. Again, I like to remind people there have been 2 hidden cameras in Congress stories in the past 8 months, and they have both involved obvious gay sex blackmail material. And nobody talks about it. Those aren't the only 2 there. They didn't just happen to find the only 2 hidden cameras with congressmen having gay sex on them. They didn't get lucky. There's dozens of cameras with congressmen having gay sex on them, probably starring Lindsey. Or maybe not starring him. Maybe he's actually not the star. What those walls have seen. You don't want to take a black light to Congress. The evidence of so many crimes. So this bill that was presented, so they presented it after what? I don't know if you saw this. Let me show you this. Screen is a little weird here. Let me show you this video or this image of Putin and Kim Jong driving together. I don't know if you. This is so weird. I mean, it's funny to me. I think it's like a sitcom. Why is that so big? So Putin and Kim Jong-il went out driving I guess they were in North Korea. I mean, this looks like an episode of like authoritarians in cars getting coffee with a giggling Kim Jong-un, smitten. And it was in response to this. I mean, whose car is this? Whose car are they driving? Where did this car, did they just steal somebody's car? Do they have cars in North Korea? I don't know anything about North Korea other than what those documentaries make it look like North Koreans don't know how to type on a computer. They're probably very smart, and they probably think that we don't know how to type on a computer. But I don't think these two speak each other's language, although they are matching colors. What are they laughing at? What are these two laughing at? They don't understand each other's language, and probably verbally, body language, nothing I don't think they understand about each other, but they're laughing at something. Are they watching a video of Joe Biden give a speech? What are they sharing a laugh about here? I would like to know. But it was in response to this, because after having such a good time, they decided to, they united on, sorry. Yeah, my setup's different. Sorry, you got to go right to your notes and the summations, but what did they do? They did like a defense. Oh, hold on. Sorry. I told you this is going to be a little bit of a technical journey here, trying to navigate my new setup here. Cruise like that, and a defense. Hold on, sorry. This is really bothering me. The screen's freezing up. Oh, that's what it is. It's just a defense pack. That's all it was. There's no official name to it. So like they signed this defense pact, Russia and North Korea did, which obviously, why wouldn't they do that? I mean, that's expected. But this is why Lindsey Graham and Blumenthal rushed to get this bill out. And Graham, he was worried that Russia could share their nuclear secrets with North Korea. Maybe that's what they were laughing about in that car right there. They were sharing nuclear secrets, and they were hilarious. And Lindsey Graham doesn't want that to happen. And so they rushed this bill out that would declare officially Russia to be a sponsor of state terrorism, international state terrorism. And this was interesting to me, and you'll see why in a second. Because there's been some stories like this themed very similarly lately. When we declare or designate a country as a state sponsor of terrorism, what it does is that's like an official label that says this country has repeatedly supported acts of international terror, which triggers these automatic sanctions that kick in. And this includes a ban on arms-related sales, limits trade to and from the country, and prohibits any economic assistance, stuff like, just tries to cripple them. And the reason this caught my attention is because the Biden administration, since he took office, has spoke about Putin and Trump and MAGA and January 6ers and Russia spreading disinformation online and conspiracy theorists as one and the same. All of those people and groups are in the same bucket, according to the way the Biden administration has described terrorism, international or domestic, since he came to office. You saw the countering domestic terrorism strategy where conspiracy theorists are labeled in there multiple times. Disinformation spreaders, same language they use with Russia. These are the same. Where does the conspiracy theories come from? They tell us. It's all bullshit, but what is their narrative? Well, these conspiracy theorists and MAGA people are spreading this disinformation that came from Russia. So they're one and the same. The domestic and the international terrorists are one and the same, right? This is their twisted justification that they do in the news all the time. And they've been laying the seeds for this kind of thing since Biden took office, the merging of the international and the domestic terrorists so that they can take the rights away from, they can just treat them all like international terrorists because obviously they're all puppets of Putin. And then they can maybe, take their guns away, maybe debank them, make it as hard as possible for them to survive in this civilization that anyone who doesn't live off the land has to use these things to survive in. I don't know that they will actually do this, that they will declare Russia supporting international terror. What's the international terror they're supporting? Well, MAGA over there. They're spreading the disinformation. Well, why don't we get the UN then to come step in and stop this terrorist group that is trying to steal the country away by winning an election and protect democracy by ensuring Biden's second term or whoever takes his place. Stop the terrorists here using the link to international and domestic terror. This is why I was talking about that story earlier this week where CNN keeps reporting on global presidential poll results, Biden versus Trump. And they say, well, globally, Biden's clearly winning. If only, and a CNN reporter said this, if only everybody around the world could have a say in this one, Biden would easily win. Well, that's not really how it works. Unless maybe you try and declare one group a domestic terrorist, like a banana republic would. I don't think they're going to do this. I don't think. Things are getting pretty wild. But this seems outlandish to us. But by having stories like this all the time that links that domestic and that international, quote, terrorist, Russia, Trump, whatever, MAGA, and then having the stories about the people here are so stupid because they're caught up in this cult of MAGA or whatever. We need these international people who are so smart and recognize how great Biden is. It lays the groundwork to where people who watch their networks and their brainwashed hordes, it doesn't seem like such an outlandish thing to just declare anybody who supports Trump and asks questions or doesn't support the left as a domestic terrorist and say, come on, UN, we've been helping you guys, NATO, everybody come help us now because all of these really, really old people who like to go listen to Trump talk and all of the Asian people who really like him are dangerous. They do some twisted shit. Keep an eye out for that. It's there if they want to use it. I don't know if they'll go there, but they have paved the way for a narrative like that. Check the comments. Paul Revere. It was a limo built by the... Was it? So, and was this in North Korea, Paul, or was this in? I think it was in North Korea, right? Or was it in Russia? Yeah, didn't Putin go over to North Korea, or maybe they went over there. They partied so much, and Putin's like, "Come on over, let's go to Russia now." And then they went and partied in Russia. That's pretty cool, though. How did Putin drive it to North Korea? Putin's like, "I didn't fly. I drove this limousine to pick up Kim Jong-un so we can go watch funny videos while we." You think they actually drove that, by the way? I don't think there was any driving going on. I think they just sat there. Like, I know they just sat there. There's probably no video of that. Or maybe there is. I don't know. Maybe Putin's an excellent driver. Get that off screen. All right. Yeah, look out for that. International opinion is better and more important than anything domestic. And we need to protect democracy. So this is breaking news, and you guys should sit down for this. There was a deadline. I don't know if you guys heard about the deadline, but the deadline was last night, and it's passed already. And it's going to be a shock to a lot of you, but RFK Jr. failed to qualify for next week's CNN presidential debate by the deadline. The deadline was last night. He couldn't qualify. Neither could any of the other third or fourth party candidates who were really scrambling to try and meet those qualifications for that CNN debate. But they fell short. And it's just going to be Trump and Biden. You know, we all had hopes that there might be others there to challenge him. Didn't do the work they needed to do. Do you guys remember like a month ago when it was first announced that Trump and Biden would be debating? In fact, I have an article. I'll show it to you. And they had all these conditions. And one of the conditions was for Biden was that he'll agree to do the debate as long as there are no third party candidates there. This was the story from the very moment they told us they were going to debate. No third-party candidates, that's a deal breaker. And now they're acting like they had this set of standards and qualifications that anybody could have tried to meet, and any person could have met it, could have been on that debate stage, but they just failed to do it. They're trying to give some sort of legitimacy to something that's totally illegitimate. Look at this. Where's the Trump? All right, Trump. Biden, 2 debates. Hold on, I lost my place here again. It's part of the agreement. Okay, so the criteria. Yeah, it says in the criteria to lay that out. The criteria is that hold on, sorry. Again, if you're just joining, I have a new tech set up and I'm navigating all the nuances because I want to be ready for tonight when we have Brandon Green on from the Bitcoin conference. So I appreciate you guys' patience. I'm trying to make it look cool in the background for those watching. That's what's it called? It's one of the masks, like a COVID mask, but from the plague, it's a plague mask. And then on the other side, it's a on-air screen. Be some other cool stuff back there. That's 3 days. So, yeah, the criteria was, according to CNN, they're the ones who set the debate. The candidates would be invited to participate in the debate if they had secured a place on the ballot in states totaling at least 270 votes in the Electoral College, the minimum needed to win the presidency. So they had to be able to, just be on like every ballot almost to get in this debate. Ballot access is literally the battle that every third party candidate fights all the time. I mean, that is the obstacle right there. And CNN's like, well, you get on all the states' ballots, and knowing full well, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's a qualification they put up there just so they could do this story a week later and make themselves seem like they're not sucking their own dicks all the time because of how wonderful they think their network. I mean, nothing about this is legitimate. It's so it's not a debate. None of these things are debate. People don't debate anymore. The online debates people do, they're stupid. They're all stupid. It's a bunch of people saying the same surface level shit they always say with different inflections to different people, some smarter than the others. Nobody actually debates people who challenge their beliefs because they won't go on their shows, because it will fracture the persona they've created if they're actually challenged. Every fucking debate I watch, I've seen, whether it's at the libertarian debate, whether it's online, have all these people, debate me. They're all fucking stupid. And they all get nowhere. And they're all people sucking their own dicks, trying to make themselves look like they're better at it than the other guy sucking his own dick. Or muff, or whatever. Don't mean to be sexist. But come on, debate. Like the libertarian debate, the VP Vivek debate. Vivek didn't debate anybody. It's all so dumb. Debate me, bro. All right. Yeah, they knew that wasn't going to happen. Where's that freaking quote from the New York Times? All right, here it is. This is from the New York Times. I don't know where the article is. I must have exited out. But it's from May 15th when they first announced they were going to be having the debate between Trump and Biden. Mr. Biden opened the exchange between Trump's team on Wednesday, this is back in May, saying he was willing to debate Mr. Trump twice before the election, and as early as June, but on the condition that arrangements bypassed the nonpartisan organization that has managed the presidential debates since '88. Mr. Biden and his top aides want the debates to start much sooner than the dates proposed so that voters can see the two candidates side by side well before early voting begins in September. The Biden administration wants the debate to occur inside a TV studio with microphones that automatically cut off when a speaker's time elapses. And the Biden administration wants it to be just two candidates and the moderators without the raucous in-person audiences that Mr. Trump feeds on, and without the participation, this is in the New York Times, of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or other independent third-party candidates. That's what the New York Times reported the conditions were for this debate to happen on May 15th. And now today, CNN is reporting breaking news: RFK Jr. failed to meet the qualifications. He was X'd out of it before it even started. These people are such cocksuckers. In a bad way. I mean that in a bad way when I say that for them. What do we got here? If you guys are just watching this in the morning at 6 a.m., I have the mouth, the vulgarity of someone who's talking to you at like 11 p.m. So it might be a bit much for the 6 a.m., but maybe not. Who knows? Maybe if you just stayed up all night, you're all about it. All right, I'm going to do one more thing and get out of here, I think. I think that's all I wanted to do. I think I got this down, this new setup. What do you guys think who are watching, who've seen it before? I can't really tell until I watch it later. This is a lot better camera that I've been using, and I'm trying to see if it's worth the cost of it and the other stuff I want to do with it. But I had to just rearrange everything. It sucks learning something new. Like, learning new things is actually painful. Aristotle writes about that because you create a new node in your brain, which creates physical pain. And then the more you do the thing, it gets easier and easier. But it's that initial doing it. I've been putting this shit off for a while. I'm glad I did it. All right. Oh, this is my favorite part of the story. Sorry, I forgot about this. As weird as all that stuff was, it's going to be held in Atlanta, Georgia. There's going to be no audience, all of that stuff. So you can't go and wait in line or anything. Maybe there'll be protesters or whatever. There'll be like a paper and pen in each podium. They'll have water. I'm sure they'll both have whatever drugs they need to get through it. There will be cocaine eye drops inside Biden's podium, I'm sure. Jake Tapper, Dana Bash, members of the urine sexual club. Jake Tapper, huge urine sexual advocate. don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Look into it. He is one of the leading urine sexuals, him and Rachel Maddow in this country. They'll be doing this debate. But the most interesting part of this entire story to me was the coin flip that happened yesterday. Did you guys hear about the coin flip? There was a coin flip yesterday. So, when you watch a football game, they do a coin flip at the beginning, and the team that wins, they get to choose whether they want to kick off or receive. And there's obvious advantages to either one of those. And, you could argue which one is the best one to do. And then the team that loses the coin flip decides if they want to go against the wind, which makes it harder to kick field goals and punts, or with the wind, which enables them to make further field goals and score points. Very obvious advantages and benefits to these choices and sacrifices to when you choose one and you give up the other, right? No explanation needed for those choices. This coin flip, however, between Biden and Trump, it's a bit head-cocking, if you ask me. Because Biden won the coin flip yesterday, and what he won by winning it is he got to choose. I'm going to say how they put it. He, instead of choices that need no explanation, like the football thing, Biden got to choose by winning the coin flip either podium placement or order of closing argument. You won the coin flip, Mr. Biden. You can either choose which podium you stand at, or you can decide that you want to have the last word against Trump. Last word, that seems like a pretty obvious one. That one needs no explanation. Everybody who's ever been in a debate or in some sort of roast or whatever similar, having the last word is very powerful. Like, obviously, take the last word. You can rebut anything. You don't do that. You just got to sit there in silence. Last word, easy, right? Not so much. Because Biden said, I don't want that last word. Despite the obvious benefits to being able to speak last, I see more value in choosing which podium that I can stand at and letting Trump choose who gets to speak last. That's a perplexing decision. Do you have any obvious explanations for it when you think about it? I mean, people I've talked to, they really, people don't really think about it. They just kind of breeze, oh, that's normal, because the media talks about it like it's normal. Because not one mainstream media outlet stopped this very perplexing, why is that the choice? Why is the choice choose where you stand or choose the very all-important last message? You get to close the thing out. Why is that the choice? And not one outlet explained it. I mean, this is something that should be, here's why this is important. Here's why this is a benefit to standing here, and that benefit for some people is more than the benefit of getting the final word in front of America against your opponent. Because that's not clear, and nobody's told us why. That's the really interesting thing to me is that every single network agreed, we're just going to say this weird shit and then not explain any of it. Act like, oh, perfectly normal. It's not. At first, I was thinking about it. Why would he choose that? Are the explosives in the other podium? Or maybe he's got a setup with the camera people and the lighting, and they have all that shit over there. They're going to frame Trump wrong like they did when Trump debated Hillary Clinton, and the cameras followed him around, and they did the framing to make it look like wherever he was standing, like he was towering over Hillary. I mean, it was total brilliant manipulation. The Clintons, I covered this a few years ago. They were Bill Clinton was one of the first people to actually have a staging coach and a whole map of where he could walk and stand and hit to make himself look glowing, to make himself look strong, towering, to have high status, while also standing in places that made his opponent look lurking or low status. I mean, it's stage direction. If you've ever done theater, you got to hit your mark. And the Clintons had an entire map, and they rehearsed the whole thing, and you can watch one of those debates. I can't remember which year it was, maybe 96. And Bill Clinton, nails everything in their preparation. And this kind of makes me think of that with the staging. What are the advantages? Is it something as simple as Biden can only hear out of one ear? And so he needs to be in the position where his good ear is, or maybe his face looks better, not so, like he had a stroke. That's what he looks like. If his face is covered by that angle of the camera, is there a trap fucking door underneath that side of the stage where they can just keep switching Biden's in and out, all of the doubles, so he looks fresh every few minutes? I mean, Trump could, for all we know, be looking over there at Biden speak, turn away, turn back, and Hillary Clinton standing there. The trap door flipped her up, and now Biden's just underneath the stage staring up Hillary Clinton's dress. Or maybe there's another explanation. The only ones I could find to give any insight into why Biden, because the media didn't, chose I'll make the podium decision instead of who speaks decision, is one is from, let me put it on the screen. Yeah, this is Trump gets the final word. He got the final word because Biden chose which podium. And the podium that he chose, by the way, this detail that they put in there, but they don't explain the value of, is on screen. Biden chose the podium that is going to put him on the right of the screen for television viewers. So he's going to be on our right, I guess. And they keep saying that in the articles, hinting that that's important. They just don't tell you why that's important. But you see on screen here, Trump gets the final word, but Biden gets stage right, I guess. Oh, yeah, this is the New York Times article. I finally found that. I've already read that too. All right. The podium positions will be identical to the candidates' placements during both 2020 debates, but this will be the first of their matchups in which Trump delivers the final statement, though he interrupted Biden's closing remarks. See, I also don't necessarily believe that they won't let Biden say something if Trump mentions him, because they have you mentioned your opponent, you get 15 seconds or whatever. So maybe Biden has a little bit of that, but this was a very strategic thing. That's why it's interesting to me. I mean, there's a clear strategy here. And here's the only information that I could find that was at all helpful to why that might have happened. One of them is from a political exchange forum. And the other one is from, the other information that is very interesting, is from a published paper in the International Journal of Press and Politics, published in 2021, titled Visual Priming and Framing During the 2020 Democratic Presidential Debates. Electoral status predicts favorable camera treatment. We'll go to that one last. Here's some interesting things some people in this forum said. And I did think that this was interesting. What is the preferred position on stage for a debate? This was 7 years ago. This was put on this website. According to CNN, of course, due to the results of a coin toss, Clinton will stand stage left on the audience's right, and Trump will stand stage right on the audience's left. Who won the toss is the debate question. And the first answer is, my guess is that Trump won and chose stage right, because if he shakes hands with Clinton, he would be in the preferred position to be photographed shaking hands. So his face is facing out, is what he's saying, instead of facing back, with his hand in front of hers, conveying power. Is that correct, they ask, or are there other reasons? So this person's speculating, trying to figure out the answer, like I am. Like we are. And then the answers they got, only two of them. First one, I would say Hillary won the toss, and I agree. In pictorial design, it is important to consider that the viewer focuses first on the things that interest him or her most, and then scans from left to right. That's true. This is how they do XR web design. Arriving at the most right area where something is going on. In this case, it'll be Hillary Clinton. So that's where the eyes rest. But do they really want people's eyes on Biden the most? The eye will rest there and has more time to take in the impression. So if we go on this theory that by being on the right, we're going to scan and our eyes are going to rest longer on Biden, giving him more screen time, then they must feel confident in the cocaine eye drops they're going to give him and how they're going to help his performance. And then it says, if you want to give something more importance in a picture, put it in the right area. I don't know if this is true. It seems true, but this is just a commenter in a forum who says they have a background in this. As long as there was no naked dancer to the right of Clinton, she was the most important part. That's their claim. And then they said, I did not find an English source for this side preference. So they couldn't even find an English source. They found a German source from a book at a university. And I already I translated it. And the source said, this directional tendency has an impact on image composition, image elements or contrast. Image elements or contrast that are of particular importance should be positioned to the right-hand field of the image. The gaze of the viewer after the image has been moved from the top left to the right has been palpated below. Let's see. The result of the coin toss showed which candidate would speak first. So I think that might be something they're leaving out. I think that Trump, probably by speaking last, means that Biden gets to speak first as well, which means he gets to set the context and that initial priming in people's minds. So that's also very valuable. I still think the final word is more valuable, but that initial perception setting is very powerful. Whichever candidate has won a coin toss before the debate will respond first to the initial question. From the transcript, we see that Hillary Clinton won the toss to get the first question, and it says, this is what the question was. This is interesting. Beginning with you, Secretary Clinton, why are you a better choice than your opponent to create the kinds of jobs that will put more money into the pockets of American workers? Clinton says, well, thank you, Lester, and thanks, Hofstra, for hosting us. Apparently, this is why she was placed stage left or right to the audience. The CNN Republican debate placed Trump stage center as the leading candidate and flanked him with the next one in order. Similarly, Hillary got the center position in Democratic debates. She got the right-hand podium for Biden. This might imply that Hillary got the right-hand podium because she's ahead in the poll. Yeah, that's not it. The debates with the sitting president, yeah. Nixon was in that position in the debate against Kennedy. Let's see. Now, in slang terms, right-hand is regarded as more important and powerful, thus being on the right from the audience. Yeah, that's true. The way that the sayings, the right hand of that's preferred. You can see this from various biblical references and examples when Jacob blessed his grandchildren. The placement of the right hand showed which blessing was more powerful. So that I can see something there. It might be more, or at least in part, it's probably a lot of factors. They probably set Biden up to get a really softball first question that he's going to make all his money on. So I look for that first question that they ask to be a major softball that Biden does all of the clips you're going to see. I bet a lot of them come from that first answer that Biden does because he goes first, and they set it up where that's going to be the perception creator. That's the hope, I think. Although I don't think it doesn't any amount of perception shifting or shaping or whatever fucking podium you stand at or who goes last. Nothing's going to make people go, oh my God, I thought Biden was brain dead. Whoa. I was Trump. I'm standing with Biden now. I'm riding with Biden. Just like nobody's going to go, God, I was going to vote Biden, but Trump won me over. This debate is changing nobody's mind voter-wise. The only thing it might do is give the media these sound bites to use and propagate. And maybe if Biden sucks, maybe they'll replace him. That's what a lot of people are saying. I don't know. It's kind of fun to have Biden in there. Biden is like the most controllable candidate in the history of the world. So people talk about wanting Biden to be removed or that they want him to be removed. And maybe they do. I did believe that Kamala would eventually become president before Biden's term was over. I don't know if that's going to happen now. But the benefit of somebody like Biden is the people pulling the strings they have an absolute puppet. I mean, that's what you want when you're a puppet master, isn't it? Is somebody who's brain dead. So in a lot of ways, he's perfect for them. Well, is he going to continue to be perfect for them? I don't know. Let's see if there's any more thing. All right. So the other thing that I had that was interesting about why he might have chose this, because there's a lot of sociology studies psychology, the Tavistock Institute, and they try and use the findings from stuff like this and apply them, just like I was talking about with Bill Clinton and the staging for the debate in 96. This paper here is obviously something they're going to be looking at when they make these decisions. I think they might have gone a little too scientific. Dr. Fauci says you choose the podium that makes you go on the right side of the viewing audience. That's the best place to go, Dr. Fauci says. I'm the science. A little too hardcore in the science. But this paper here, let me put it on the screen. Sorry. The International Journal of Press and Politics, Visual Priming and Framing During the 2020 Democrat Presidential Debates. I've gotten through part of this, and here's a couple of things that they found in that study or whatever. Let's see. Hold on, I'm trying to find my place here. Screen is a little too big, I think. Study. Okay, so the study on visual priming, it says, and this is their word, surprisingly, they found that surprisingly, the thing that has the most variance in the way the candidates are perceived by the audience, so the most impact in the perception on the audience, is stage position. So if his people are reading this, they're going, stage position has the most impact on the viewing audience. What's the best position for Biden? Well, the right hand of God, I guess. Well, I guess if you say that, then Trump would be God in that framing. So maybe that's not the best way to do it, unless they want Trump to appear that way. This paper is very interesting. It goes through all these different framings. The two-shot, the split screen, the wide screen when there's a longer debate, the angling, the way that it's just like Jerry Springered to just drive conflict home and show candidates through camera framing. I point this out all the time. The candidate they like will be perfectly framed and well lit. And then the candidate that organization does not like they used to do to DeSantis, there'll be tons of space, but his head will be at the bottom of the frame, like he's in Mike Brady position on the Brady Bunch image, very bottom. And the camera just keeps moving up to make them look stupid. I mean, they can do so much manipulation with the camera stuff. You go back and you watch, I know it's weird to watch an old debate, but the Trump-Hillary Clinton debate in 2016, you've never seen so much manipulation of cameras and coordination to make it look like Trump was stalking Hillary. I mean, it's unbelievable. You can even see Trump notice it. You can see the red lights. He eventually figured it out because he kept trying to get out of camera frame, and you can see him wandering around the stage because he knows what they're doing. And then the narrative after that, he stalked Hillary around stage. Michelle Obama mentioned in the book. It was all coordinated with all the camera people there, using the same strategy Bill Clinton did with the staging, hitting your marks, switching cameras. It's all like live production television show shit. And the study, what they're talking about, a lot of this stuff is complicated. I'm going to look up like half the words in it, but it seems to have a lot to do, like I said, with the way the candidates can be framed on the screen, like at the conflict framing, or just the way people perceive that. They kind of support some of that other statement I just read in that forum. The natural perception of someone standing over there. But is it that much of a benefit that Biden would give up the last word? I think probably the money is on the softball first question to establish everything. That's going to be where they're going to try and make the bacon, baby. All right. I think that's all I got for today. Thanks for letting me experiment and play around with the new tech, guys. I know it was a little bit rocky with some of it, but I'm getting it down. Here's another quick story here. This guy's 7'9" basketball player. You guys hear that? I mean, what else are you gonna do if you're 7'9"? 7'9", you don't play basketball? No, I'm a cyclist. All right. Hell yeah. I woke up 2 hours ago. I'm ready. Yeah. Yeah, me too, man. I love swearing in the morning. Here is, okay, 7'9" Florida recruit is about to make college basketball history. What? So that's like, I love when they do that. He's about to make college basketball history. What is he? I mean, what is he going to like just punch someone in the dick for no reason? What is this history? 7'9" recruit just made college basketball history by dropping to his knees and punching the referee in the dick with his head. But missing because he's 7'9", and even on his knees, he just headbutted the referee. Oliver Ryu makes Zach Edey look like Muggsy Bogues. That's a deep cut there. He's an incoming Florida freshman. Who does he play for? He plays for Florida Tech. So the people have been talking about this story, and I always look to see who they play for. If you play for like UNC or Duke and you're 7'9", then you might have a little bit of 7'9" skill. From my experiences playing basketball, people who are really, really tall, over 7 feet, while you do have to adjust. Like the first time I ever got a three-pointer blocked from someone who was standing down by the goal, it's because there was a guy who was 7 foot tall. I didn't realize how quickly he could just put his arm up. So you got to adjust. But usually these guys are really clumsy and uncoordinated. That's why the ones that are in the NBA that do well, like Shaq was a force. But most people this tall are not very good at basketball. This guy's going to Florida Tech. You're 7'9", and you're going to Florida Tech. Look, I hope he does well. But I've just seen people saying, it's not fair. It's really unfair. This guy's so tall. Yeah, he's going to Florida Tech. He should be playing at Duke if he's 7'9". 7'9". He just keeps growing. He just wakes up. He's another inch. It's got to be painful, man. He's the tallest basketball player of all time. He's Nephilim. He's Nephilim. He entered the Guinness Book of World Records as the tallest living male teenager. I feel sorry for him, man. Like, that's nothing in this world is built. The infrastructure's not built for him. The beds are too short. The shoes are too small. The clothes are too short. I mean, he probably can't find anything that he can wear. And it's probably painful. Like, think about the growing pains. As a child, Oliver spent hours looking through the Guinness Book of Records, studying the tallest people. That's weird. And comparing himself. It's like a weird goal, though, because you can't really control that. I feel like his parents should have been, why are you obsessing about the tallest people in the Guinness Book of World Records? One day you can do it. It's just a weird thing to. So there he is right there. That's funny because you see this guy next to him that says Can. Like, this guy looks like he's like 5'5". This guy's probably like 6'4" right here next to him. Time will tell if he can leave his mark. You're not going to leave much of a mark at Florida Tech. You might leave a mark at Florida Tech, but not in the whole college basketball world. You can't teach height, as they say. It's not every day you see a 7'9" player. Okay. Perhaps Manute Bol was 7'6". You might have heard of him. Or not. I think Manute Bol was also like 45 when he came to the NBA. He lied about his age, I think. I think he was like in his 50s and still pretty bad. That's what's great about him. Is he's fucking dominating. He's actually in his 50s or some shit like that. He just looked like he's in his 30s. So when he was 18 years old, or he's at 7'5" 2 years ago before growing an inch. Imagine being 7'5" and you still got another growth spurt in you. Yeah, gonna get that last spurt. I mean, that's gotta hurt, man. I wonder how much he weighs. Let's see how he can play. He's playing a bunch of little high school. Well, they look little compared to him. He doesn't have to. I wonder how many points he scored a game. You got to score 40 a game like this, at least. How do you ever lose a game when you're that tall? I mean, he looks like a Nephilim. Guy's got a duck every door he walks into. He's probably actually got a pretty tough life, even though he plays basketball. He's getting his attention. It's probably no fun to be that tall. But in the video, he doesn't have to dunk. They just throw the ball up, and he's literally 1.5 feet taller than the other tallest person. And it's like you're playing a real basketball game on your basketball goal hanging on your door. Except all the people you're playing against, they're only like 1.5 feet tall. If they want to make the NBA really fair, then what they'll do is they'll lower the goals to 5 feet. There's no advantage to being 7'9" if the goals are 5 feet. Everybody can dunk, takes away that tall advantage. Suddenly, we got a new type of game going on here. I don't know, man. That guy doesn't even look like he likes basketball to me. One more, then I'm out of here. What is this? Eat other humans. 7'9". No. That's tall, man. What about when he finds a girlfriend, gets married, and he's gonna have to be a really tall girl. That's got to be kind of the mechanics of that. It's got to be rough. You ever see Shaquille O'Neal when he had like that? I think one of his wives, I don't know if it was his first wife, but she was like 5'1", and Shaquille O'Neal's like 7'3", and the pictures of them, it just like seeing them was painful to even think about for that poor woman. His dick is bigger than her entire torso. And he's trying to make babies with. I mean, that's not going to go into the vulgarity of that. But the mechanics, you got to find another Nephilim. You'll break them. I thought this was funny because it's just indicative of politics. Vermont lawmaker apologizes for repeatedly pouring water in colleague's bag. Have any of you ever repeatedly, out of vindictiveness, poured water in a colleague's bag for an extended period of time? Maybe once if you're mad, whatever. I mean, I've never done that once. It's just so petty. But just like a committed, consistent strategy of, for months, pouring water in one of your colleagues' bag. I think it was for months. But this person said, "I'm truly ashamed for my actions," said Rep. Mary Morrissey, said of her disrespectful conduct toward her colleague. So he says a Republican lawmaker from Vermont has apologized for repeatedly pouring water in a Democrat colleague's bag. I guess it could have been worse. She could have been peeing in there. Water's better. So the guy didn't know, like the guy kept finding his bag was wet. He didn't know why. And then he caught her on video. Because if you go to work and multiple times a week for an extended number of weeks, maybe months, you go back to your bag and it's like, whoa, well, fuck, there's fucking water in my bag. Is there a leak? Is there a freezer in my bag that I'm unaware of that somehow sprung a leak and is filling my bag up with water? Or is someone doing, you're eventually going to turn a camera on, and you as the pourer of water in a bag have to be aware of, you have to realize that eventually someone's going to suspect foul play and make sure none of those gay hidden cams in Congress are watching you, because they don't only catch Lindsey Graham banging all his pages, they catch people pouring water. And the state representatives anyway. State Rep Mary, she apologized. I got that. Let's see what she looks like. This is a small town of 1,500 people. Everybody pours water in everybody's bag down here. I mean, she could have put fire ants in there or something. That might have been more. It's like she didn't like the person, but she didn't really want to harm them, unless it was a leather bag, because she could have done much, much worse. She could have put spiders in there. I'm truly ashamed for my actions. She's ashamed she got caught. I don't understand what her point was, other than like vindictiveness. It's not like sabotaging this guy. It's like, maybe if I pour water in his bag every day, he'll get so distracted that he can't legislate and he'll lose his next campaign. She's going to be working towards a resolution and restoration through our legislative. Wait a minute. I'm truly ashamed She said she had apologized directly to Carol and would be working toward resolution and restoration through our legislative process. Well, why do you need the legislative process to get a resolution for you repeatedly sneaking into your co-worker's office, I guess, and pouring water into their bag? That doesn't feel like something that needs a legislative solution. Did she write? I'm writing a bill to remedy the obsessive pouring of water in my colleague's bag. We don't need a law for everything. Oh, there she is. Okay, so we get an image here. So the person, is that a guy's bag? The guy had a Christmas bag. Guy had kind of a little, a little flamish bag. It's kind of a chick's bag he's got there, hanging with his suit. That's definitely a chick's grocery bag, like one of the ones that you take to the grocery. I see, some people take bags with them to the grocery store. They're not the plastic ones. They're just like reusable. This is what this looks like with a Christmas tree on it. Who's bringing a Christmas bag to their state Congress in the middle of the summer? Put the Christmas bag away until December, maybe late November. I'm with her. Pour water in that fucking bag. That bag shouldn't be hanging here. That bag should be in his attic until St. Nick starts bringing his fat ass around. No fucking Christmas bag. And a dude who brings a bag like that deserves water poured in his bag. I don't think she should apologize. I'm with her on this. She should have pissed in his bag. This guy is obnoxious with his violation of just basic humanity. You don't bring this shit out in May. It's not Christmas in May. It is funny how he has this hidden camera. So you can see how he hid some camera behind something. And you can see her sneaking up to pour it in. It's just such a weird thing to do. It's like this is her meeting room, I guess. Almost like he put it there, though. So he has the camera catching her. I feel like he kind of staged it here, baiting her to pour water. Like, I'll bring the Christmas bag. I'll make it super fucking gay, and I'm going to put it on top of my suit. I don't know how anybody could pass this thing and not pour water in it, let alone piss in it. This is kind of a little bit of entrapment right here, if you ask me. In response, Carol told the chamber that he heard the sincerity in her voice, but that he had to be frank, saying to her, for 5 months, I went through this. And she had a choice every time. You know what? So did you, sir. You had a choice not to keep bringing your Christmas bag around for 5 months. And you also had a choice not to carry such a fucking gay bag to work. Give the bag to your wife or your husband, wife. Don't bring it to work where everybody's going to think you're a flamer. I mean, it's a gay bag. It's a bag that nobody should bring to work. I encourage everybody to pour water in this man's bag. It was torment. It was torment, he said, for 5 long months. I kept finding water in my Christmas bag, my gay Christmas bag. It was tormenting. This is not a person who should be any elected official if they're tormented by this. Carol told the AP that the tote bag he hangs in a hallway at the State House was soaked a couple of times per week in January and February. It took him 5 months to crack this case. Anybody who elected this guy, just know the guy you elected, it took him 5 months to figure out who was pouring water in his gay Christmas tote bag. Oh, there's a little wrinkle to the story here. After he was charged with driving under the influence in February, so he got a DUI, and he returned from rehab, had to go to rehab. She should have been pouring vodka in the bag. That would have been some sabotage. He'd be drinking his bag, putting it on like a gay feed bag. His bag was soaked almost daily. They hate me because I got a DUI. They're trying to kill me just like they're trying to do to Hunter Biden. It was relentless, he said, adding that he was fairly confident it was Morrissey, who he said often mistreated him. Who is this guy? He's a Democrat, obviously. He set up a video camera behind a scarf on the opposite side of the wall. This guy just has gay stuff laying all around. and captured her pouring water from a glass into the bag on April 23rd and April 26th. So he caught her once on April 23rd, and he said, you know what, I'm going to let her do it again. April 26th. I have to say, she did it for so long that she got a little arrogant. She thought this idiot thinks that it's raining in only his bag. Climate change is affecting his bag. He then showed the footage to House Speaker Jill Krowinski, who probably should have told Carol to stop being so gay, but she then confronted Morrissey with it. So Morrissey is the woman pouring it, and the guy is Carol. It's his last name. This is a truly disturbing situation that is at odds. It's not truly disturbing, okay? It's not truly disturbing. These people are demented that are in office. This is actually pretty normal behavior. This is like the lowest level. I mean, if this is the worst that they're doing, pouring water in a bag, this isn't truly disturbing. Truly disturbing behavior is the Wisconsin judges race, where one side with millions of dollars, the most money raised for a state Supreme Court campaign in history because there was a national stake in it, secretly put hidden messages in the campaign ads that branded the opponent a horse fucker. They branded him a horse fucker. They put horse fucking sounds in there. They made it was a big horse fucking thing. Now that's a little disturbing. Funny, but disturbing. This is just a little water in a bag and under the bag in the bridge. She added that the integrity and the decorum of our legislative proceedings, integrity and decorum, should never be said in the same sentence with legislative proceedings because they are absent of both of those. The integrity and decorum of our legislative proceedings and of the legislators are of paramount importance to us. No, they're not. No, they're fucking not. Fuck you. Someone pour water in that bitch's bag. She's lying to everyone. Like I'm kind of thinking about maybe traveling up there, putting on like a Mrs. Doubtfire wig, sneaking in, and bringing back the water. I mean, that'll shock people. They'll be like, we thought we ended it. Who's the new disturbing water bag pourer? And decorum of our legislative proceedings and of legislators are of paramount importance. And any actions or behaviors that compromise these values will be thoroughly investigated and addressed. And then they all went and had a gay orgy in the Congress room. Why do you even use breath to say words like that mean absolutely nothing to not one single person? Like, everything that she said there meant nothing to no one anywhere ever. It was the most worthless breath and use of words and air known to man. It just blinked at, like there was nothing came from that. If she had gotten pegged with a water balloon or a super soaker because of how stupid that was, then okay. But they just go up and say, I am about to spend a minute saying these things to you that everybody knows is meaningless bullshit. But we're going to pretend like the bad thing is a little bit of water in a gay bag, a Christmas bag. She hadn't said why she did it. I know why she did it. That fucking bag was gay. And it was at Christmas time. Put it away. And she didn't respond to an email. Who emails? Hey, I'd like to contact you, Miss Morrissey. Your disturbing actions pouring water for 5 months into that idiot's Christmas tote bag. Why did you do it? Why? She could write a tell-all book. You know, maybe she'll apologize and pour water in her own bag for solidarity. Carroll told fellow lawmakers on Monday that the first time he and Morrissey sit down to talk will be awkward. I would really like to see that, but we got to start somewhere. Look, I know this is weird. This is the first time. I'm just going to put it out there. This is the first time we've spoken to each other since I exposed you for pouring water in my my gay Christmas bag for 5 months. You know, for 5 months, I thought that there was climate inside of my bag. I thought that it was raining only inside of my bag. Do you know how maddening that is? You know, I told my family, I told my friends, I said, no, I promise you, climate change has created hostile weather inside my gay Christmas tote bag. And it rains there like it's fucking Seattle, okay? 2-3 times a week. I keep putting my cell phones in. I put a cell phone in there every time I go. I just put all my electronics in there thinking, it won't rain in my bag again. Inevitably, got to get new technology. Frying out all of my technology. I thought this was due to carbon emissions, to my carbon footprint. Nobody believed me. Nobody believed there was weather control in my bag. They thought I was crazy, and I was, because it was you. You soiled my bag. What do you say to that? What is this conversation? This isn't real. I think this is all fucking made up. Televise that. Televise that fucking conversation over the stupid debate. All right, guys. Thanks for letting me ramble and be weird. Nothing like being a little weird in the morning. Get that one out. Boom. Visual priming, Trump's lawyers. I do believe that is it. If you guys want to watch something that, you know, I don't want to say demonstrates the television sitcom drama that they say is our real world. Like, it's so bizarre. Nothing's real. Everybody lives online. Everybody tries to be somebody else online. Everybody tries to fight people and get more followers. And this translates over to Congress. It's just a culture of trolling and gotchas and water pouring and gay bags. And it's just, everything is so fucking weird. You want to see something that perfectly exemplifies that. Go watch Nathan Wade, who was the only prostitute Fani Willis calls. Go watch his interview on Comedy Central with some really bizarre character they have there who's just asking him about banging that box in very detailed, vulgar ways. It's really strange. I'm going to go through that because there's some sort of op going on there. But until then, until the next op, thank you for letting me experiment on you this morning. We'll talk to you guys later tonight, 8:30 p.m. Brandon Green, organizer of Bitcoin 2024, going to be telling us all about it. It's in Nashville at the end of July. Propaganda Report, or propagandafight.com, patreon.com/propaganda report. Freedom Act Radio on Twitter, youtube.com/Brad Binkley, Rumble, The Prop Report. Have a fantastic morning. See y'all later.